If your roof starts to leak or your floor's really squeak, you live in a money pit. Money pit.
If your basement needs a pump or your place looks like a dump, you live in a money pit. Money pit. Pick up the telephone.
Fix up your home sweet home by calling 888-MONEY-PIT.
The Money Pit is presented by the Metal Roofing Alliance. Now here's Leslie Segretti.
Coast to coast and floorboards to shingles, this is the Money Pit. I'm Leslie Segretti, and I'm joined by Jim Kenzie, our amazing senior producer. We are wrapping up this phase of summer, also known as the holy cow, we need to get some stuff done time of year. We got a great show planned for you this hour, so let's get to it. Because holy cow, we got a lot of stuff we got to get to right before the summer's over.
No doubt.
Now, here's not the best of news. Home sales this spring hit their lowest pace since 2012, thanks to high mortgage rates, affordability struggles, economic uncertainty. So coming up, we're going to break down what this means for home projects, seller timing, and how a homeowner can benefit in this shifting real estate market. So some interesting info there. And are you thinking about going solar? Well, here's a little known tip. Your roof matters just as much as those panels. So coming up, we're going to share why metal roofs are the ultimate foundation for solar, offering long-term savings, energy efficiency, and unbeatable durability, whether you're in snow country, storm zones, or you just want to get the best bang for your buck. We have got your roof covered.
I see what you did there.
And is your garage still packed with summer chaos? Beach chairs, garden tools, mystery sports gear. Coming up, we're going to share how a simple seasonal garage reset can save time, reclaim space, and get you organized for the fall. It's one weekend project with big rewards. So give us a call now at 888-MONEY-PIT so we can see what you are working on and we can lend a hand. Jim, who's first?
Okay, we've got Michelle from Michigan with moles. Stealing your routine, Leslie.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. And, you know, I think, Jim, that you would very much like Michigan.
You think? What's going on, Michelle?
Well, I have about an acre and a half of backyard. Well, actually an acre, not quite a half. But I have moles constantly coming from my neighbor's yard and tearing up, and they're living under my patio.
All right. Well, you know why they're coming to your yard is because your yard has the tasty treats that they really like. I mean, the reason that moles do show up is because the food source is there, and they love grubs, and you might not see them. They live in the dirt underneath the lawn, and that's what the moles are eating. So the trick of getting rid of the moles is to get rid of the grubs.
Now, how would I go about by doing that? Because I've done everything I could possibly think of. Spraying, putting things down, even a few homeopathic things, but nothing seems to be working.
Well, there's a couple of different products that you could use, and they do a great job of treating the grub situation. One of them you can find at your local home center. It's called Grub X. It's an application that you put on the lawn, and they're going to get rid of the grubs. It's not going to happen like immediately, but it starts to get rid of the grub slowly, and then the moles kind of figure out that there's nothing yummy to eat there. And then they go somewhere else. So it's not like a boom, I treated it. Yay, they're gone. It's, oh, I treated it. Why are they still here? Oh, it seems like there's less. Oh, look at that. They're all gone.
Yeah, it takes a while, but it does work.
Yeah. Have you tried anything like that?
I was trying to do something where I wouldn't hurt them, but they're really hurting my yard.
I mean, it's really simple. You're eliminating their food source, so they're going to go somewhere else to eat. It's not like you're starving anybody. You know, it's like you're just forcing the moles to move elsewhere where the grubs are, not at your house.
Okay. Well, great. Then I'll have to give that a try.
All right. Definitely give it a try. It does work. Good luck with your project. Thanks so much for calling us at 888-MONEY-PIT.
All right, Leslie, in the Lone Star State, we have Leroy on the line.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw. What's going on, Leroy?
All the AC vents in the house work just fine with blowing out, cold, fast air, except for our one back bedroom, which is our smallest room. Barely any air blows out of it, and I don't know what might be going on with the ducting up there, or, like I said, barely any air blows out there, and that, the smallest room should be getting the coldest, but it's actually getting the hottest.
Is this room the farthest away from where that AC is located?
No, it's probably the second closest.
Wow, it's all right. It's second closest. So if that's the case, there's no reason why you should be getting such a reduced amount of airflow. It sounds to me like maybe there's a kink in the ductwork for some reason. Maybe there's a blockage for some reason. Is there any way that you could take that register off and maybe with a flashlight and a mirror, you can look down the whole line of the duct and see if there's anything obvious that's blocking it? I can't imagine what it might be, but if it got kinked, maybe when it first went in, who knows? It could have been like this since day one, and that would definitely cause the problem. If it's the second closest to the air conditioner, you should not be having restricted airflow.
Right, and that's what I was kind of thinking, but I figured I'd ask somebody that knows a little bit more about the stuff than I do.
You know, the other thing is where it comes off of the air conditioning. You may want to try to follow the ducts at some point because somewhere there's a damper in that ductwork where you can control the airflow. And there's a small chance, I mean, if not, not really a huge chance, but a small chance that you could have a damper on that line and it's partially shut. And sometimes they put dampers on the line so that they can adjust the amount of air going to different parts of the house. Now, if you see a damper, it's going to be inside of the duct. You're not going to see the actual damper, but you will see the axle on which that damper operates. And that axle is going to have a flat on the end of it, and the flat is perpendicular to the duct if it's closed, and it's parallel to the duct if it's open. So you want to look for that. It's going to have a little handle on it, usually a little hand-tightened nut as well to stop it from breaking. So I would take a look for that while you're peeking around because this could be a very easy fix.
No, I'm going to have to go give those options a try.
Yeah, good luck with that, Leroy. We have a similar situation in the front room, which is my youngest bedroom, and I don't understand. His room is always 1,000 degrees, but it's the same rate of airflow coming out of his ductwork. Maybe I feel like his just gets the most amount of sun in the day. It's on the front of the house and it's just struggling to keep up. But poor kid, I swear, when we had no AC for weeks, he was begging to keep the window unit after everything got fixed. He's like, I just love it. It's so cold.
I bet.
Yeah, I was like, nah, little dude, I was like, that window faces the front of the house. Do you know what it looks like with the AC sticking out the front of the house? But yeah, I get it. Good luck with that, Leroy. I'm sure we're going to pin down this mystery and get that room nice and chilly.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Hey, you want to support our podcast and help us grow? Well, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll be forever grateful. Plus, you'll be helping other homeowners discover our show. Just go to moneypit.com/review. Well, we have had a super hot summer here in the Northeast and practically all over the country. You know, that summer sun and all that backyard traffic can take a toll on your driveway. So before the fall arrives, give your concrete or asphalt surfaces a pressure wash, repair any cracks, apply a sealant. This simple maintenance can help prevent water intrusion, which is especially important during that freeze-thaw cycle because it really can wreak a lot of havoc there on those surfaces. So give us a call with how we can lend you a hand. Jim, who's up?
All right, we've got Margaret now, who is going to go to the movies with you and I, Leslie. I think that's what she's talking about. She's got a question about popcorn ceilings that are getting dirty.
Yeah, I wish that was about a movie. Sorry, Margaret.
This is real life.
I'd like to know what I can do about my popcorn ceilings. They're getting dirty. They're 20 years old.
There's a couple of solutions, but let's talk about the popcorn ceiling here. Do you like it? Do you want to keep it? I mean, if it wasn't so dirty looking, would you be like, oh my God, this is awesome. I love my popcorn ceiling.
I would not like to keep them no more.
All right. Well, that's great. Generally, people don't like the popcorn ceilings.
The second time, yeah.
They're not that into them anymore, which I get it.
Heck yeah.
So what you would have to do is, first of all, let's just check and see if it's truly a popcorn ceiling or if it's more of like a texturized stucco. If it is a true popcorn ceiling, it's going to kind of flake off if you scrape at it. If it's a texturized stucco, it is on there. So with a traditional popcorn, you're going to get one of those little water sprayers, like a light duty paint sprayer or garden sprayer. You just simply put water in it and you spray the ceiling and saturate that popcorn ceiling. And then you can take the widest spackling blade you can find and sort of just start gently peeling, scraping away at that popcorn ceiling. And I would say that you want to go gently because you don't want to gouge up or scratch up that ceiling, because once you've got the popcorn texture off, there's going to be more work to do if you've been dealing with that, roughness with that spackling blade. But it should generally do a good job. Then I would say if that works, once you're happy with how it looks, you want to let it dry, you want to prime it really, really well, and then you'll be able to paint it.
Okay. How do I go about cleaning if I decide to just go ahead and keep this?
All right, well, if you want to keep the popcorn ceiling, then you don't actually clean it, because once you put water on it, it starts to come apart. You would paint over it. It's not a difficult project. There are rollers that are made specifically for a textured ceiling like that. It's sort of like a slotted or like almost like a spun cut foam. It looks like a spiral ham. And basically when you put the paint on it and roll over that popcorn texture, those slats in the foam roller kind of open up and go around each of those textury bumps of the popcorn. So it's doing a good job of repainting it without removing it. Well, whichever way you go, lady, I hope it is the popcorn or not popcorn ceiling of your dreams, okay? Thanks so much for calling us at 888-MONEY-PIT. Well, spring is usually the busiest time for buying and selling homes, but 2025 was different. In fact, it marked the slowest spring real estate season in over a decade, with fewer home sale contracts signed from April through June than in any other year since 2012, from a very recent Bloomberg report. Now, what's causing this downturn? There's really three key factors here. Mortgage rates remain stubbornly high. I mean, they're hovering around 6.8%, sometimes higher, depending on where you're looking. And that's making monthly payments significantly steeper than those pandemic-era deals. Now, economic uncertainties, including trade tensions, inflation, this has left a lot of buyers on the sidelines. Remember, price alone doesn't erase uncertainty. And lastly, affordability feels worse than it has in decades, freezing potential first-time buyers out of the market and fueling a resurgence in demand for rentals. Now, despite the slowdown, prices aren't collapsing yet. And part of that is because sellers are pulling listings, tightening the inventory, preventing sharp declines in value. And at the same time, inventory across the country rose sharply by almost 20% year over year, giving buyers a little bit more negotiating power. But what does this all mean for you as a homeowner or as a DIYer? If, say, you're in the middle of a renovation, you may find more favorable pricing or incentives, especially on materials or labor. For a seller, it's a reminder that price alone doesn't close a deal. Prepping the home, staging, and timing are even more critical right now. And for everyone, it's a market reminder being strategic and staying informed is more important than ever. It'll be interesting to see how these numbers shake out for the rest of the year. So we shall see. I mean, I certainly don't see anything affected price-wise in the area I live. There's probably 4 houses on the market in my town, and they are selling well above asking, which is pricing everybody out. So see what happens next. All right, Jim, who's up next?
Leslie, we now have Larry on the line. That's 3 L's in one sentence right there. And he's dealing with an invasive species to the sewer lines. And I think you know we're talking about tree roots. Fill us in, Larry.
This is not roots growing from outside the house underneath. When they graded the land, some roots were left underneath, and the roots continued to grow into the sewer lines, feeding on the waste.
Yeah, you know, that happens, and it's happened before. It kind of depends on that type of waste pipe. Some waste pipes are more susceptible for roots to get into them. For example, if you have a really old house, some of the lines that go underground, before they were replaced, they were clay pipes. And the clay pipes, the roots could kind of just bust right into the joints. And if you have a PVC pipe today, they're all glued together. They don't get in there as easily. But is that what you're dealing with? Or you're getting backups from the roots?
Yeah, and what they tell me, I send a camera down there, and you can actually see the pipes separated.
All right, I mean, that makes sense. That's how they're getting in there, right?
So I got them coming out. They're going to jackhammer the floor, and it's in the middle of the friggin' house, and, you know.
Well, there is another way to do that where you don't have to break up the floor. It's certain companies do a liner system, and they kind of... Gosh, it's almost like a flexible dryer hose that they kind of put into the other pipe.
It's kind of like a sock. It's like a real long sock that grows.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And they put it inside the other pipe and just kind of line the interior with this other product. It gets pressurized with the water and it hardens. And I mean, maybe it's even fiberglass. So it kind of forms like a permanent structure on the inside. Mm-hmm. And then this way they don't have to break up the floor. There doesn't have to be other carpentry projects involved. And it's just sort of relining the interior of the pipe to be a new pipe.
And it's usually a lot less expensive, Leslie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's just less disruptive. So I would start first by finding a pro that does that method and then say, hey, is this good for our situation?
I'm 76, and I've been in the construction business my whole life. And sometimes you have answers to stuff I've never even heard of.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. We're so glad you're listening, and we're so glad we learned something new together, and you're able to try this out for your house. It's always a pleasure to share this info. So thank you so much for the kind words, and good luck with your project.
And remember our motto, it's okay, Leslie, we don't live there.
I think you mean you can do it yourself, but you don't have to do it alone. All right. Thanks so much for calling in.
Thank you.
All right, now we've got Ken on the line. He's got a question regarding countertops at his home. Fill us in, won't you, Ken?
Well, I have a quartz countertop that we had installed professionally probably 12 years ago, but one of the seams has broken loose, and I'm trying to figure out how to get that seam sealed again or get it glued back together again. Is there a way I can do that?
All right. So, Ken, what you're saying is maybe there's movement on these two sort of granite slabs and it's causing the seam to open up. Could be just like some expansion and contraction.
It's over the dishwasher, and I put too much pressure on it, and it broke the seam loose, some weight on it. So I'm just trying to get it sealed, glued back together again.
All right. Now we're getting the real story. It's kind of a tough job for you to do on your own because you're not going to have access to the materials that those solid surface, those stone guys are going to use, but they probably used an epoxy-like seal when they first put it together. Right now, I would think all you want to do is stop moisture from getting in there so you don't get mold growth and that kind of thing. But if you want to actually repair it, you're probably just going to have to go back to a pro. And as you've discovered, there's really two issues here. There's whatever structurally allowed it to bend like that with the pressure on it, and you want to make sure that it's getting beefed up. Otherwise, it could happen again. And then, of course, you'll have to get the seam resealed once more. So those are the steps involved. But I don't feel like these are kind of DIY projects because I just don't think you're going to have the tools and the materials that you're going to need to get the job done. Granite work is super specialized.
Oh, okay. Well, I noticed underneath there is no support. It's a seam that's out in an open area. So that was one thing that really bothered me because it's dropped down a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the issue. There's not the correct support, and maybe you climbed on it in a spot where there wasn't support. I mean, all of it kind of, goes hand in hand to the issue you're having. So the pro would come in, and if you go back to the guys that did the kitchen, if you can, go back to the guys that installed the cabinets and the framework and then the granite guys, and maybe together they can reinforce what's underneath and then repair the seam on the granite. And it's probably over this time, maybe that granite needs to be resealed. 12 years for sure. If you've never sealed it again, now's a great time to have that surface sort of restored, retouched. And it's a sealant that they'll have, the granite guys in-house, and it does a wonderful job of making that surface super durable, not as absorbent of like oil and tomato sauces and that kind of stuff. But that's what you're going to want to do here.
All right. Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, Ken, you're welcome. Good luck with that project. Thanks so much for giving us a call at 888-MONEY-PIT.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. When you visit the doctor, you probably hand over your insurance, your ID, and contact details. It's just one of the many places that has your personal info. And if any of them accidentally expose it, you could be at risk for identity theft. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second. If you become a victim, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
It's almost the end of August, and the long hours of sunlight are definitely starting to shorten. As the days start to get shorter, you want to check your outdoor lighting. You can swap out old bulbs with bright, energy-efficient LEDs. You can consider adding solar-powered path lights or motion sensors around entryways. It's a small project that adds safety, ambiance, and better visibility as evenings start creeping in sooner. And I can feel those crisp, cool evenings coming. All right, fall.
Excellent.
Yeah. Jim, let's get back to the phones. What's the number? 888-MONEY-PIT?
It is.
888-MONEY-PIT. Give us a call.
In my mind, Leslie, I'm going to Carolina, where we have Kim, who has some weed issues. What's going on there?
We have trouble with weed, and it was never a trouble before, but we have had trouble finding what we used to have and want to know if it is outdated or no longer safe to use for the environment.
Oh, do you mean like a weed killer?
Well, no, it's not a weed killer because we try not to put anything down in the ground other than to kill the fire ants.
But your goal ultimately is to get rid of those weeds, right?
We used to use a black plastic. The black plastic would keep the weeds gone. just literally gone. And the plants would actually flourish from the root system being gently baked, we'll use the term. But now all you can find is that thin fiber stuff almost.
Well, listen, if it's worked for you in the past, I don't see why it shouldn't keep working for you in the future. And certainly if it's available and it's safe, then go ahead and use it. Now, if you're talking about weed block, which is like a fabric, that's totally not a treatment. It's something that's designed to cover the whole surface or to be just below the surface, and it does work very well. But generally, when you put the block out, you put slits in it because that's how the plants grow through it. They don't grow under it. Now, if you're talking about a lawn, there are other ways to deal with the massive influx of weeds. If your lawn is in a really bad way and completely full of weeds, I would recommend kind of a radical step called a Roundup restoration. And you basically spray the entire lawn with the Roundup product in the fall. And by the way, in the fall, if you spray the entire lawn, and then as that lawn starts to die out, you put seed on it, that seed comes up through the original dead lawn, and then by spring, you have a beautiful new green, thick, lush, beautiful lawn without a weed in sight. So there's a couple of ways to approach it, but either way, I think is fine. If you can identify the plastic and use it again, great. I see nothing wrong with doing that. But if you want to use a weed block, that's also fine. But you have to have cuts in it for those plants to grow through. Or if you just want to restore the entire lawn from scratch, start with Roundup Restoration, and then you're going to have a whole brand new lawn. I mean, you're not going to have a lawn for a little while, but eventually you'll have a lawn. All right, Kim, thanks so much for calling us at 888-MONEY-PIT. Thinking about going solar? Well, before you invest in the panels, it's time to look up because your roof plays a huge role in how well that solar works. And when it comes to durability, energy performance, and long-term savings, a metal roof is hands down the best partner for solar panels. Now, here's why. First up, longevity that aligns with the solar lifespan. Most solar panels last about 25 to 30 years. That's right in the same ballpark as a quality metal roof, which can last 40 to 70 years. That means you're not going to be tearing off your roof midlife just to replace it under your panels. It's a huge cost and a hassle saver. Now, easy mounting, no need for penetrations. Many standing seam metal roofs will allow solar systems to be mounted without drilling a hole. Instead, a bracket can be attached directly to those seams. Now, that's going to preserve your roof's integrity and the warranty while simplifying the installation, and that is a big win. Next up is superior energy efficiency. Metal roofs reflect solar radiation naturally, and they can be coated with cool roof finishes that's going to keep your home cooler and your AC costs lower. Combine that with solar production, and you've got a powerful energy-saving double whammy. Now, there's also built-in weather and fire resistance. Whether it's hail, hurricanes, or wildfire risk, metal has got you covered. It's rated for fire resistance Class A and can stand up to Class 4 hail, and with proper underlayment and clips, it's the roof most likely to survive extreme weather. And with solar tech getting lighter and more efficient, metal strength makes it ideal for long-term support. Lastly, less maintenance equals more peace of mind. Once installed, both your solar and your metal roof, they're super low maintenance, they're durable, they're cost effective. And that means more time enjoying those energy savings and less time worrying about roof repairs or shingle replacements. If you're investing in solar, it makes sense to invest in the right roofing partner too. And if you're already due for a re-roof, now's the time to plan for both together. Want to explore your options? The Metal Roofing Alliance has a free buyer's guide that walks you through regional needs, styles, energy benefits, and more. Just head to metalroofing.com. Give us a call with all of your home improvement questions at 888-MONEY-PIT. Jim, I think we're going to make this a thing.
Are we? Good.
Let's try it this hour, and if people like it, and maybe if we don't get any calls, then we know it was bad. We'll go back to 888-MONEY-PIT next week. But for now, 888-MONEY-PIT.
Kind of rolls off the tongue.
I like it. All right, guys, before the weather turns, now's the perfect time to give your home's exterior a little facelift. You can touch up chipped trim, railings, doors, and shutters with a fresh coat of paint. Not only does it improve your curb appeal, but it also helps protect wood surfaces from the elements. You want to choose quick-drying outdoor paints to beat the clock before that fall rain comes rolling in. Jim, who do we have up next on the Money Pit?
We're going to head over to Tennessee, Leslie. We've got Michael waiting patiently. He's looking to take on a painting project. I understand you want to paint some siding. Can you be a little more specific, please?
It's a vinyl siding, and I understand you can paint aluminum siding, but I didn't know how well vinyl siding would take to that.
All right. Well, vinyl siding, Michael, that can be a little tricky because you're probably going to need like a special product. So you're going to need a primer because you want it to really stick. And if you want to paint vinyl siding, there are specific sets of steps that you need to go through. First of all, you have to make sure it's super clean. And that applies really to any painting project, whether it's wood or aluminum or vinyl siding. You just have to start with a clean surface. So we're talking no mold, no mildew, no chalky buildup, no dirt. Then you want to find a primer and a paint, and I would stay within the same manufacturer family. So if you go with Benjamin Moore, stick with Benjamin Moore. If you go with Sherwin-Williams, stick with that. So it's primer to paint, same manufacturer, because you're going to get the best adhesion. They're meant to work together. Now, you want to look for something called a vinyl safe color. They're generally lighter because the darker the color, the more opportunity there is for that siding to overheat and warp, and that's going to affect the adhesion of the paint to that vinyl surface. You're probably going to need a couple of coats. And when you apply it, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can use a paint sprayer or a roller, but you are going to end up needing a brush to get all of those edges. But yeah, I would say start on one side of the house so that you can get a good system down. Maybe don't start directly on the front where if you have an issue, everybody's going to see it forever and ever. Start on a more discreet side of the house. Make sure you get the process down right. And then go ahead and finish the remaining sides. And I would work section by section, but like a whole section rather than just like a little tiny spot because it's never going to dry the same. So one time, one side of the house per day or per few days. And then you'll see it's actually a great project and your house is going to have a whole brand spanking new life.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, Michael, thanks so much for giving us a call at 888-MONEY-PIT. Well, as the summer winds down and the days get shorter, your garage can quickly go from a well-used hub of warm weather gear to a cluttered mess of hoses and tools and beach chairs and random sports equipment because, boys have to play every single sport and they all involve like a weird bucket and like a variety of balls. Like, what the heck? But before the fall hits full force, now is the perfect time for a garage clean out and a seasonal swap. First of all, you want to clear everything out. This is always the worst part of the garage chore because you have to just take everything out. And I mean it, everything. It might seem like a hassle, but it really gives you a chance to see what you have, identify duplicates, toss, donate things you don't use any longer. It's an important part. Now, while that garage is empty and the floor is clear, sweep out all the debris, the cobwebs, the dirt, use a leaf blower to clear the corners and a hose to pressure wash, for grime in the garage. This is your best shot at hitting those spots that you normally can't get to. Now, as you're starting to reload, you want to group items by season. So stow away summer gear like beach chairs, pool toys, garden tools, stuff that you don't need. You want to label bins, use clear containers so you can see what's inside, and move all of those summer things back and the fall, winter essentials to the front. Leaf blowers, rakes, firewood bins, snow melt if you're in a colder part of the country. Now, once you're sort of looking at what you've got left, think about the storage system. If you're short on shelving or hooks, now's the time to install those wall-mounted systems, overhead racks, even pegboards. You want to kind of keep that floor clear and keep that gear accessible. Even a simple row of labeled bins or a magnetic strip for tools can make a huge difference. And then safety first, guys, you want to double check that flammable items like gas canisters or propane tanks are stored properly and be sure that tools like hedge trimmers or chainsaws are cleaned, sharpened, and then safely put away. A seasonal garage reset helps you make space, save time, and avoid last-minute scrambles for that leaf blower or the rake when the leaves start to drop. Plus, it's a great way to kind of mentally shift from summer chaos to a more organized, fall-ready mindset. All right, before we head to the garage, let's head to the phones. Jim, who's up next?
Okay, looks like Humpty Dumpty's going to bite it and have a great fall over at Howard's house unless we can help him out. What's going on, Howard?
House is old, about 30 years old, and I assume the retaining wall is probably similar in length. There are two walls. There's one about 6 bricks high and then a 3-foot deep flower bed, and then another landscaping brick wall about 4 bricks high with another 3 feet behind that of shrubbery, no flowers. And it's been lean, and I noticed it last year, and I thought it might go away, and it's not.
The thing here that happens with these sort of retaining walls that have these sort of landscaping areas, behind them or within them, is that soil over time fills with water. It's going to be very moist, damp. All of that soil is going to kind of expand and push against the wall. And then if it gets cold, it can kind of freeze and push out even more. So season after season, it just kind of pushes on that retaining wall a little bit more. It's not a structural issue per se because it's landscaping brick, but eventually you do have to replace it.
Okay, so you mean tear it down and rebuild it?
Yeah, and you know what? There are other types of retaining walls that you can construct that are designed not to lean. For example, there are different types of block wall. There's like a fancy block wall, precast concrete block walls that go together like puzzle pieces, kind of one on top of another, and they lean back as you go because they stack up one next to the one, and it doesn't kind of stick out quite as far, if that makes sense. And even though those are rather permanent, they're installed, it's a little bit more permanent, but a basic brick wall will eventually lean and fall over. It's just, it's connected as one piece. That's what happens.
Well, when I say brick, it's probably 4 to 5 inches thick and deep.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's just the process of construction, the movement of the soil, and, time. It's bound to happen.
Well, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good luck with that project. Time now to see what's going on in that email inbox. I mean, we get a lot of emails here at the Money Pit, and we don't always get time to sit down and answer them. So let's do some now. Jim, who's up?
Here's one. Ashley wrote in saying, I need to replace my water softener, and I'm debating buying one that uses salt and one that doesn't. What would you recommend?
Well, hard water buildup normally comes from minerals that are in your home's water supply. It's also called limescale, kind of sticks to your pipes. It sticks inside water-using appliances, and then it sort of shortens their life and the efficiency of those appliances. Personally, though, I'm a fan of salt-free water softeners. There's a product called Easy Water that we've worked with for a while, which is pretty cool. I mean, you know how magnets kind of repel one another when the two positive sides are pressed together? Well, that's what Easy Water technology does. It kind of works like that. The water comes into your house. Easy Water creates kind of this magnetic field within the water, and then it pushes those hard water particles apart. This way, they can't stick together. If they don't stick together, then they can't clog up your system. So I think that's probably a pretty good option, and it's also a heck of a lot less expensive than using a salt system, which you constantly have to refill. So that's definitely something you want to look into, Ashley. It's important to make sure that this is taken care of because monitoring the type of water that's coming in and treating it to work effectively and efficiently in your home is much better and more cost effective than replacing that dishwasher, replacing the clothes washer, the dryer, all of those things that get gunked up with the water. So definitely important. I mean, how often do you need to replace a shower head? Not that often if you have not hard water. So good luck with that. We hope this helps you out.
If you know anything about Leslie, you know she's a nut for peel and stick everything. So she's here with a fun, decor refreshing, super low financial commitment that can bring a lot of style for not a lot of money. Leslie shares tips on this project in today's segment of Leslie's Last Word. Leslie?
Yeah, as summer winds down, it's the perfect time to give your home a quick and stylish refresh. And the best part? You don't need a full renovation or a big budget to make a huge impact. Now, one of our favorite DIY upgrades right now is peel and stick wallpaper or even peel and stick backsplash tiles. Now, these products have come a long way. They are modern, trendy, they're easy to install, and just as easy to remove, making them ideal for renters, first-timers, or commitment phobes. Listen, it's okay. Now, if you're looking to update a tired entryway, you can add a bold peel and stick wallpaper to one wall, and you've instantly created a welcoming vibe. You want to dress up your kitchen without picking up a tile saw? Faux tile backsplashes in Subway, Mosaic, even marble patterns can be installed in a single afternoon, heck, an hour, with just a level and a pair of scissors. And these are both also great for furniture makeovers. You can wrap a dresser drawer front, you can put it in the back on the sort of inside of a bookshelf, or you can cover the risers on a staircase for a custom designer look without the designer price tag. And because it's so easy to apply and reposition, this is a project you can totally tackle while the kids are at school or even with them as a creative weekend project. So if your walls or your mood are feeling a little blah after a long summer, This is a fast, affordable, and fun way to roll into fall with style. I love it. You do know that I put like peel and stick Harry Potter wallpaper in my bathroom, right? And I have one bathroom. So it's not like I could be like, this one's the Harry Potter one. No. The only one is the Harry Potter one. And I love it until I don't. And then it becomes something else crazy.
Nice.
All right, guys, that's a wrap for this hour of the Money Pit. We started off with some smart ways to prep your home for solar by pairing it with a durable, energy-efficient metal roof, perfect for just about any climate. Then we rolled up our sleeves for a little late summer cleanup and tackled your garage, organizing everything and getting ready for the fall. We'll see you next week here on the Money Pit. Remember, you can do it yourself, but you don't have to do it alone.
On the Money Pit Radio Show. On the Money Pit Radio Show.
Pick up the telephone.
Fix up your home sweet home by calling 888-MONEY-PIT.
If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Life is a workout, and Smoothie King is here to help you power through. Whether you're grinding out bicep curls or muscling the couch across the living room, crushing morning miles, or sprinting through back-to-back meetings, Smoothie King has fuel to help you maximize your workouts, own your recovery, and elevate your game. Give your body the energy, protein, and power it needs with a lineup of delicious smoothies made to help you conquer your goals. Only at Smoothie King.